died on impact. Where Soapy's aim wasn't so good that day. He was a little bit tipsy, and he ended up nailing Frank Reed in the groin. Now, July 8, 1898 is heralded as the day Frank Reed liberated the town of Skagway from the evil dictatorship of Soapy Smith. But it is also the day poor Frank Reed lost his golden nuggets.
It's 455 square miles of land and 11 square miles of water. Question answered. Now I want to see a foot car.
Now, a couple fun quick notes here on the left side of the train, folks. Down in the ravine, we can still see the Skagway River running furiously. As you can tell, this river gets quite treacherous, and it has Class 6 rapids, which entails it's never successfully fully possible to drive into Skagway from the lower 48. You should see a building with a blue roof. Well, congratulations, you just spotted our town IHOP. Now, instead of flipping pancakes, this IHOP checks passports. It's the International House of Passports, folks, our U.S. Customs building. Now, the actual border is still 12 miles ahead of us at the summit, but customs had to be built here because of the extreme climate and terrain at higher elevations. Directly below the customs buildings, painted onto the cliff face, are the words, "On to Alaska with Buchanan." This is a tribute to George Buchanan, who was a wealthy coal baron from Detroit, Michigan. During the 1920s and 30s, he sponsored underprivileged boys and eventually girls on transcontinental expeditions from Detroit to Alaska. They learned outdoor skills as well as how to conduct themselves with professionalism, and a special part of their trip was riding our train. On to Alaska with Buchanan became their proud slogan, and a reunion group of Buchanan boys painted the slogan onto the rock face to commemorate Buchanan's endearing legacy.
So it might be hard to imagine, but in the winter times up here, they can get back.
Your cue for when this waterfall will come is to keep an eye out for the town pipeline. Now, this pipeline stretches up the mountainside and goes up to a lake called Goat Lake. The waters from Goat Lake run down this pipeline and are fed into a hydroelectric turbine. Capture the imaginations of people from all walks of life, but many never had experienced hard labor before. The foreman of our railroad's construction, Michael Heaney, was a brilliant engineer and dedicated leader. He worked around the clock to oversee and organize one of the most highly educated and inexperienced workforces anyone had ever seen. 35,000 workers would take 2 months, 2 years, and 2 days to build this entire railroad before earning enough money to continue on to the Klondike. While injuries were frequent, there was just 35 recorded fatalities that occurred on the job. Maurice Dunn and Alex Junot were one of these unfortunate fatalities. They were working one day hanging from ropes, working on a massive overhang of granite, when it suddenly came loose and fell on the two men, crushing them instantly. Unable to retrieve the bodies without disturbing their remains, Michael Heaney marked the boulder with a small wooden cross to serve as both a tribute to these two men and all the workers who died during the railroad's construction. After milepost 10, the cross will be about 80 feet below the train on the left. It stands directly on top of the massive boulder we call Black Cross Rock.
I think we just passed the pipe he was talking about. So.
But it's on the line.
Yep. When he was pointing out landmarks, he was saying after that we would start to slow down, and then. Oh, did you hear it?
There it
There
is.
it is. It was a little bit of a cross.
Yeah, I'll pop it.
It's a view that can only be seen from our train. This waterfall is fed by the Carmack Glacier, which we will see a little bit later and I will point out. And its waters cascade 5,000 feet from the glacier down to the valley floor. It was said that even the most jaded Gold Rush stampeder couldn't help but stop and admire its beauty.
I thought he said there was a clearing.
Don't know what to do. Maybe I should go up and bathe in that thing. Now in a few moments, we will pass a handful of clearings in the trees that will give us a good view of our highlight section. Now if you look up on the left side of the train, you might spot what looks like the South Klondike Highway once again. But it is not the South Klondike Highway, but our own railroad. It's ahead of us by about 4 miles. We will be making a horseshoe curve up the mountainside, and once we get on that side of the mountain, we will be ascending up the highline section. Once we're up on top of that wooden trestle bridge you see out in the distance, it'll be about 1,000 feet down to the valley floor below. And that wooden trestle bridge will take us into our first tunnel of the day. Now folks, if you're a little bit worried about the heights you'll see on the left side of the train up there, don't worry, let me assure you, we will just cross that bridge when we get there. So they needed as much space as they could use to work with it. Now the standard gauge rail is about 4 feet 8.5 inches, where the narrow gauge here is only 3 feet apart. So quite a bit of difference there. Now folks, we are approaching milepost 14, the Glacier Space Station, which is another popular flag stop for our railroad. You can get dropped off here and hike around the area. You might be able to spot a trailhead on the right. This will take you up to the Lawton Glacier. It is a 2.5 mile hike up to the glacier, where you can hike on top of the glacier, or explore the ice caves down beneath it. We will be crossing one of the tributaries to the Skagway River in just a moment. We'll have beautiful views on both sides of the train and see the train curving over this bridge in just a moment.
That was counting.
What happens when we get to one?
When we get to what?
One.
Well, that
Peaks. Another special mountain in this area is directly in front of us on the left side. If you look over that horizontal mountain peak and look down below it, you will spot some snow down there. And you might even be able to spot some blue coloration. Now you might remember me mentioning this with Bridalveil Falls. This is the Carmack Glacier, which Bridalveil Falls waters run from.
as you wanted.
Way down. Do you want me to do it?
You want to play with it a little bit?
Have your cameras ready, because in just a few moments we will finally be on top of the wooden trestle bridge going across the Glacier Gorge, and we will be approximately 1,000 feet above the valley floor below us. And to the left side we'll have a spectacular view of our entire train as it curves us into our first tunnel of the day. Now this tunnel is 250 feet in length, so be prepared for about 10 seconds of darkness.
Okay.
Anytime it's going to see
I don't know that I was recording a while ago.
mountainside coming up on the left side that's closest to us. If you keep an eye out above the tree line, you might be able to spot some mountain goat that are hanging out. They tend to enjoy the cold morning air, so keep an eye out for mountain goat. body of water is the Lynn Canal. The Lynn Canal is the deepest fjord in North America.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get me back to the top of another mountain. That was so disappointing.
Now, folks, as
It was.
deeper being on the left, I'd like to share with you the sad to the inexperienced who are eager to use pack animals to make their arduous climb a little easier. Many stampeders lack the skills or patience to care for their animals properly. Most did not at all, and as the trail climbed, it grew more and more dangerous, and so too did their desperation. Now it would be the horses who paid the ultimate price. Thousands of them perished due to overwork, poor nutrition, and excessive burdens. Many were claimed by the treacherous pass itself, where a single misstep led to fatal falls of hundreds of feet. Others were shot or abandoned when they could no longer continue, because it was far cheaper to replace the animal than it was to feed it. Now, milepost to 17.5, also known as Dead Horse Gulch, remains a poignant reminder of this tragic chapter in Gold Rush history. Appalled by the cruelty they witnessed, our railroad engineers took great care to ensure the welfare of the horses used to help build our railway, ultimately bringing an end to the brutal conditions of this White Pass Trail.
So I
You
can
might be
see.
able
You
to
see
spot
anything?
our famous steel cantilever.
Now's the time to be looking. I mean, I know the next couple days the forecast looks promising.
Are we going to cross that thing? And the answer to that question is yes. Our train engineer will be picking up speed, and we're gonna try to jump this gap, folks, so hold on tight. Now, I am just kidding here, folks. This bridge was retired in 1969 and replaced by the spectacular bridge we will be crossing over this rain. But the steel cantilever bridge is an incredible feat of engineering. It stands 250 feet tall, and at the time, it was the largest rail bridge of its kind in the world.
So my favorite photo of this bridge, there's another bridge in front of us we gotta take to go into this next tunnel. When we're parallel to steel cantilever, you're gonna be able to see the headwaters of the Skagway River pass right below it. You'll be able to get a great photo of that bridge and this body of water below us too. Now remember that body of water, because we go in that tunnel, I'm gonna point you guys to another great photo too. We'll be getting 2 great shots in about the next 3 minutes.
Once we start to cross our new bridge here, we're going to get a great parallel view of the steel cantilever and the river valley. So beautiful views on the left and the right side of the train. And we will be coming up on our second tunnel for the day. Now this tunnel is 3 times longer than the first, so be prepared for about 30 seconds of darkness.
Okay everyone, have those cameras out and ready. We are approaching that bridge, and here comes the headwaters of the Skagway River. Here's that great shot of the bridge and that body of water down below too. Now for my friends on the right, you got this gorgeous view as well. What's really cool is we can even see those train cars behind us too. It's a very scenic shot. This is it right here.
I didn't make
Now make sure you have those cameras out and ready, because as soon as we exit this tunnel, on our left, we're gonna get another view of the headwaters of the Skagway River, but we'll also get a shot of the body of water and the mountains in the distance too. This will be immediately after we exit the tunnel on the left. Now here comes that view on our left-hand side, everyone. Those guys we saw on the ground earlier, so they inspect the tracks in the morning to make sure everything's good to go. So this granite here is pretty solid, so we don't have really anything happen on the train during the day itself.
Yeah. As we see, yeah, we get out a lot of fallen trees, a lot of
No, not really.
Narrow, moss-covered ledge. This is an old remnant of the original White Pass Trail those gold seekers took. This trail is also known as the Trail of 98. This trail, scarcely wider than the benches in our own coach cars, once teemed with people and burdened pack animals. On this path, two continuous streams of travelers flow. One, marching north, upwards toward the summit in pursuit of those distant gold riches, and another descending south to the very path they had just conquered. But why would they do this? The reason being is because the goldfields were actually 600 miles north of Skagway in the Yukon in a town called Dawson City. Dawson City could not our gold mining folk. Now we are rapidly approaching the international border. Sharply above us and to the left will be a small bronze obelisk that marks the Canadian border itself. Just past this obelisk stands a row of 5 flags. In order, they are the United States, Alaska, British Columbia, the Yukon, and Canada. These flags signify the regions our railroad travels through, and the international collaboration behind this railroad's construction. Behind the flags is a small wooden cabin with a sign reading NWMP. This is a replica of the border station used by the Northwest Mounted Police. Day and night, they stood guard through extreme wind, snow, and freezing temperatures to inspect every stampeder and ensure they had their 1 ton of goods.
Oh, I missed the flags. Oh.
Now, I'd like to be the first one to formally invite you all into Canada here. Let us breathe in this beautiful British Columbia air, and hopefully it's making us feel a little bit more kind and polite. It would take months for these gold rush stampeders to come up and deposit their 1 ton of goods. And while they may have finally triumphed over the grueling White Pass Trail, in reality, their quest has just begun. 20 more miles would take them to Lake Bennett. From there, they would build a raft loaded with their 1 ton of goods and set out on a journey to navigate 550 more miles of interconnected lakes and rivers before finally arriving in Dawson City and the Klondike Goldfields. This body of water we see on the left is called Summit Lake. It is a glacial tarn or ribbon lake, which means it was gouged out of the bedrock by glacial erosion, with depths reaching over 150 feet. It It's about 4 miles long and does not get much wider than what we see here. And yes, fish do live in this lake, mostly pike, Arctic grayling, and lake trout. Now folks, on the left side of the train you might have noticed a second pair of tracks. Now this is the loop that we will be taking here in a moment. So in just a short moment we will be looping back down so we can get wonderful views on the opposite side of the train today. Now while we're up briefly in this section, I want to nerd out a bit because it's my favorite portion of the track here. We are up in the Tormented Valley. This is our subarctic tundra. Now winter conditions here are brutal. Snow drifts can pile as high as 60 feet. Winds can blow up to 80 miles an hour, and it frequently drops below -40 up here in the Arctic tundra. A little hard to believe just because of how nice and gorgeous it is today, folks. Now you can notice a lot of trees out here in the distance, but don't let their size deceive you. Some of these trees are over 200 years old. They just don't get a whole lot of time to grow up here in the Tormented Valley.
I'm not killing them, I'm just moving.
Now folks, at this point, you have all met and spent some good time with our lovely roaming guides, Dawn and Genevieve. Now the next time you see them, they're not going to be empty-handed. They will have a special souvenir available for purchase. Now this item is our exclusive White Pass and Yukon Route baseball-style hat for $10. This hat is special because it is only sold on board the train and nowhere else. Not even our own depot gift shop in town sells this hat. It comes only in steam engine black and features the 125th anniversary White Pass logo on the front. And on the side of the bill is embroidered the epic golden spike that marks the completion of our entire railroad. I'd like to put your attention onto something here. As we descend down the mountain, our train engineer will need to use the brakes a little bit more frequently. What this means for us is we can expect a few more bumps and jolts than we felt during our ascent. So please use extra caution when moving up and about and on those exterior platforms. the trailhead for the Lying Glacier. This is also a convenient staging area for our work crews that are constantly inspecting and maintaining the tracks, making sure no debris or obstructions are blocking the race.
It wasn't bad at all.
Do what?
It wasn't bad standing out there at all. It's actually a little warm in here now. I haven't. Oh, damn it. I forgot about that.
Now here comes our sister train passing us on the left. And we have our other sister train now approaching us on the left side, so keep an eye out.
Smile for him.
In this area, fed by the Carmen Glacier thousands of feet above. Now folks, I've got about 210 days left for my that large waterfall on the left side behind you a little bit. And remember, it's tricky to take a picture of it, so some folks prefer to just take a video, which should be coming up in the next minute or two.